How did you feel about the tempo you guys played at on Saturday?
The tempo was probably my biggest disappointment. I think, we were thinking a little bit, and, my advice to our quarterbacks was we don't ever want to run a play fast if we're not ready to run it. And so it's really not a shot at Shea in any way. I think he took the time he needed to run the plays. And so ultimately, I guess disappointment is too strong of a word. I think our intention is to play faster. And I think Shea's intention is to play faster. So I'm happy that he took the time he needed, to ID the defense and do the things that he did because it helped him perform the way that he did. But I think next week you'll see a little bit of a difference there.
Coach, this offense had two successful pass plays to the running backs, Wilkins and Penniman. Even though they didn't perform, it was kind of iffy during the running game. Are you looking to use the running backs a little bit more in the passing game?
Well, the running backs are usually we're not a big max protect team, so they're either a free release or a check release on most of our pass concepts. So I would think that you'll see them more and more. You'll probably see them more involved in the pass game as the season goes on. Every week it's hard for me to answer questions with regards to what we're going to do on Saturday until we see the defense. And some people want to take the run game away as they did on Saturday, and it gave us an opportunity to make some throws, a couple of them to backs, a couple of them to our slots, a couple of them to our wide receivers off of the run game. And, so it's really going to be the ball going to the running back is going to be dictated by what they decide to take away on Saturday. I mean, it's in the plan, though, is my answer.
You have some real good stats, so obviously this might be a lame question. Are you happy with the decision making of the RPOs, whether to run or pass?
Yeah, actually, we had three plays where I thought we could hand the football off. Two of them were, I thought, very obvious where we could hand the football off. We had the look that we wanted. We completed both those balls, and one of them was for a first down. So the end result was good. But I think next week on those two plays, we'll hand it. The third one was a gray area, and that's on our quarterback, and he completed a 12-yarder, and so that's going to be how he feels it. That's part of the instinctiveness of playing in this system. So that particular play, I'm happy with either result. The other two, I would coach him in the meeting. We want to hand this off, but to have 69 plays and to have a handful where I might want to coach the quarterback a little bit, I thought Shea did a great job for opening day, starting his first game as the premier guy and making the decisions that he made. We had 181 yards off of run plays. And so, you look at and evaluate our run game. Well, part of our evaluation of the run game is what it's giving us down the field. And so, our run game was effective Saturday for what we do offensively because it gave us so many explosive plays down the field.
What did you think of Jordan with his opportunities, Wilkins, his game?
Jordan did a nice job. I thought I was pleasantly surprised. Penniman was a bright spot in camp, and he performed kind of in the game the way he did in camp. Jordan was probably a shoestring away on two runs where we had some real estate and they just caught him. Um, but overall, I was happy with their pass protection. They caught the two balls we threw to them. I thought we were downhill. I didn't think we slowed down or stuttered or cut behind the line of scrimmage, which is a goal of ours. We want to beat the line of scrimmage first, and we did that. There were two or three runs I thought we were going to rip off the ones that we didn't hand off, where we had a nice clean. We had some clean real estate there. We had some space, and we threw it. But overall, no, I'm very happy with those guys. I just think Swinney showed some things too at the end, and you may see all three of those guys next week.
I know it's only Monday, but what are your early impressions of UT Martin's defense?
Well, schematically, they're a little different. It's a three-down team. You'll get a bare front at times. They're mobile. Last year, they didn't give up 400 yards of offense the entire season with the exception of two games. So 10 out of 12 games, the offense totaled less than 400 yards, which is not easy to do in this day and age with what people are doing offensively. And in 6 of the games, the team didn't even complete 50% of their passes. And so they're very efficient with what they do. They have some athletes who can run. I think like last week, they have a team that pursues well. But we're gonna get a completely different look this week in their 30 front with what they do schematically.
Coach, I thought you did a lot of substituting on the offensive line. Is there any particular group of guys you like? And of course, they're all going in, but playing different positions. So Alex Givens played 2 or 3 different positions. Is that by design?
It is. I think Alex, and it's a credit to Alex. Alex is gifted enough to play either guard or tackle spot. I bet you if we asked him to play center, he could do that also. But so he's our mobile. He's one of our starters. And sometimes you don't see him out there on the first series or the first play of the first series. But it's no discredit to him. He could start at any one of those 4 positions. And so because of his flexibility and his versatility, we're going to use him in a lot of spots. And he spelled a bunch of guys on Saturday. And we played 7 in a normal rotation and 8 eventually, which was our plan going into the game.
Matt and Wesley both talked about there being too big of a gap between the first teamers and second teamers. What did you think about the reserves that came in for you offensively and where your depth is right now?
You know, offensively, I think we're playing more guys. It's not a definitive first team and second team. Instead of having 11 starters and 11 backups, we probably have 18 or 20 guys that we're playing in the starting rotation, as we call it. So you have 8 linemen instead of 5. You know, we've got 6 or 7 receivers instead of just the 4. We have 2, and as it turns out, really 3. And actually, and we're happy with Buford. So, I mean, we feel like we've got 4 backs that went in the game on Saturday that we felt like we could use, and we used 3 of them. So there's about 18 or 20 players that are in the rotation. So I think it's a little bit of a different culture on offense because there's not a true 1 and 2 set where the 2s don't go in until the 1s can't play or hurt or what have you, if that makes any sense to you.
Was there ever a thought on Saturday of getting Jordan some work at quarterback?
There was. I think the decision was made to keep our first team in when they scored again and just make sure we secured the game. And one good thing we got out of that was we got the ball, I think, at 4:14. And, you know, the challenge was, look, we're not throwing the football here. Okay, and we're going to run the football, and I don't want South Alabama to get the ball back. And we did that. We were able to drain the clock and run the football effectively when we had to without any, pass game called whatsoever. And they ran the clock out, and we finished the game that way. And, those are situations in the game when you just have to run the ball, and we were able to do that. So that was good work, and it was a good exercise for our first team. So I was actually happy that we were in that situation.